So there are moments when you perform where you know, no, that didn't sound good, but you keep going. So this particular program, I did Ghana and France, and the French anthem is Allons enfants de ma patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. And I look, my mind just went blank. I don't know what I was singing, but it was bad because like 90% of the audience was French.
Hello, and welcome to the Virtuoso podcast. This is the platform where we have conversations about the evolving story of Ghanaian choral, art, and classical music. My name is Theophila Samojedu, and I'm your host. Today, our guest is a woman of many parts: opera singer, entrepreneur, broadcaster. Her name is Kokui Selormey. Enjoy our conversation. Hi, Kokui.
Hi, Theophil.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
It has.
Yes.
We've been planning this for
some time. Yes.
And thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on the Virtuoso podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Virtuoso podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are our second woman virtuoso.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Who was the first?
Lordina.
Oh,
Lordina
yes.
Soprano.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's true. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Such a pleasure.
Thank
How has
you.
2026 been for you so far?
Oh, my goodness. 2026, as we're recording this, it's almost exactly half of the year gone, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. It's been a roller coaster, actually. It's been one of those years where it started and it's like we hit the ground running. There was no transition from 2025. There was no easing into it. Everything just kind of hit, bam, go. So, but I guess it's good. It keeps us on our toes.
You've been busy. You've hosted a couple of events. I saw recently you did the VL exposure.
Oh, the launch. The VL exposure. Yes, it's an SME kind of CSR thing.
Okay.
And they just asked me to MC the launch for them. So
great.
You're right. You've been watching.
I have.
You're observant.
Yeah. I usually like to start the podcast by getting to know about the young virtuoso. But I also like to remember the first time I encountered the person I'm interviewing.
Okay.
And for you, I must have been living under a rock because the first time I saw you perform, you were singing with African Glorious
AGC,
chorale.
yeah.
And you were doing Ghana, yes, Peace by New Love. Ghana. Shiragana, yes.
Shiragana, yeah.
And I watched you,
I remember that concert.
And I could tell that either I hadn't gotten the score early or...
And my Tree was terrible because I don't speak Tree. And I remember it was one of those pieces where I had to I was so glued to the score, which I don't like, if I need to be comfortable with a piece. But I was very studious in that performance of trying to stick exactly with what was written. And so probably not as liberal as I normally would be when I'm singing.
Absolutely.
So people see that video, they'll know what I'm talking about. Yes. Shiragana, and it's a great piece.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, the finesse and the professionalism struck me. Because this was a while ago. This must have been 12 or so years ago.
It was a while, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still a young musician at the time, right?
And you still are.
So I was really impressed by your professionalism, right? So I started looking into you. The next time I would see you was the launch of Johannes in Ghana.
Oh gosh, you're bringing back so many memories. Wow. Yeah, with Uncle Atu, James Scott Bennon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. So let's start with what was young Kokui like?
Oh goodness, young Kokui was very shy and still is, and
you could never tell.
Very reserved. Oh, I am. I'm really an introvert by nature. My work is what brings out a bit of me, but people who are close to me will attest to the fact that I'm very reserved, and it's like you put on a persona when you're performing or when you're on stage or when you're hosting events, because that's my job. That's my job. But it's interesting because when people encounter you, they expect you to be as
you are
effervescent and as outgoing as you are when you're on stage. And it's a lot.
Especially for an opera singer, right?
Yeah.
Because opera is very dramatic and
Very.
so on. And so if people see you and they see you shy, it's sort of like...
Exactly. And it takes a lot out of you. So after a performance, I like to hide.
Really?
And that's when people want to talk. And I like to hide. But yeah.
Yeah. So young Kokui, I see you talk about your journey a bit, and usually the music usually starts from Spelman.
Yeah.
But there must have been some music before Spelman.
So the music before Spelman was mainly school choir. So particularly Holy Child School. I'm a Hobson. Proud Hobson. I was in the school choir called Schola Cantorum, which means School of Singers.
Okay.
So that's the name of the choir at Holy Child. I was a staunch Schola member, and I sang first alto in Schola. Yes, I've always been an alto in choir. I think it was only when I got to college that my first couple of years I was still an alto, first alto. By the time I got to my senior year, I was second soprano. But I've always been kind of a medium soprano, mezzo soprano, soprano, however you want to call it. Yeah. So yes, you're right. I kind of came into music study late. So school choir, that's pretty much it. Going to America was really what opened up the music life that I lead now. Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, I was in a fine swim school, right? So we used to have a lot of choir events, and then the Holy Child choir would come.
Yeah.
And I was pretty amazed at the quality of that. But is there anything special about Holy Child?
Of course there is. I mean,
that makes the choir so good.
No, but it's a Catholic school, and I mean now obviously it is under the government umbrella, but there's a certain tradition that we still maintain. And when it comes to music, especially in that academic environment and also religious environment, is something that we really take pride in and we prioritize. And rehearsals were intense, and you had to be committed. And at one point, I think in my final year, my third year at Holy Child, I remember I started skipping school rehearsals and, exams were coming and all of that. But it was something I really did love, but never ever thought that I would actually study voice and become a professional singer. No, it was not in the plans at all.
Wow.
No.
That's interesting.
Life has a way.
Yeah. So then you went to Spelman.
I did.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, the Spelman story where I thought I was going to become a lawyer, and I ended up going to the music department, auditioning, getting accepted, shockingly. And that is when I started studying voice properly. Now, prior to that, I did a little bit of high school in the US prior to entering Spelman. This was after Holy Child.
Okay.
Because you couldn't transition into college there straight from SHS. So, and in that school, Miss Minter was her name, or is her name? I don't know where she is now, but she was the music teacher, or should I say choir director, in this very tiny private school that I attended for a little bit. Everybody in that school was Caucasian, except for me, my elder brother, and then two cousins. And Miss Minter was the one who kind of took an interest in me. I sang in the choir, and she said, there's something called all-state choir, where the whole state of Texas, this was in Texas, right? The whole state of Texas, they take high schools or, and it's regional. So you audition by sending in a tape. I mean, those were before the days of WhatsApp and everything. Yeah. So you send in, you record your voice. They tell you which parts they send you. You have to sing. So I auditioned as an alto. They sent the part that what you have to sing. You record it. You send it in, and I was selected. And she was so excited because in our whole entire district, I was the only person who made it. And I was, so this Black girl from Ghana is, has been accepted just with my voice. Wow. They don't see you. They just hear you. So I went for this all-state competition. And again, it's majority people who don't look like me. But that was my first time really being amongst young people who were serious about singing, at that level. And the expectations. It was quite interesting. Then I remember we went for another competition, and she formed a quartet of singers from our school, and I was in that quartet, again, singing first alto.
Okay.
And so we competed in that. And then she made me sing a solo as well to compete in the soloist. I think I came second in that one. She gave me an Italian song to learn, which I hated. I was like, what is this? But I did it. So she could probably tell that there was something there. Then I went to college, and my voice teacher there could hear something as well. But it still never really registered that this is something I could really do as a profession.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there music at home?
At home, so my parents, interestingly, they tried to get us to take lessons for a bit.
But you resisted?
Not that we really resisted, but I didn't have much time because it wasn't long after that I went to uni, right?
Okay.
So for a little bit, we took some keyboard lessons, but I didn't get far with it at all. And that's one thing I really regret. I really wish I had learned how to play piano really well. I think that's one skill that if you've got it, I mean, you can go anywhere with it, right? In fact, any instrument.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any instrument, which is why my children are enrolled in your academy, Gramophone Academy.
Of course, yeah.
But, and they are resisting, but I'll stick with them. So I mean, music, no, the music influence that I had at home was quite eclectic because my parents are both music lovers, but different genres, right?
Okay.
So I heard everything from classical, choral, to pop music, to like old school Motown, to, I mean, you name it, to some high life. So you had people, I'm sure many people have never heard of these people, right? But there was a clarinetist, he used to play, I don't know whether to call it folk or jazz clarinet. And I think his name was Akabilk.
Okay.
And I was really young, I mean, I was a kid, but I just remember my parents had these records of Akabilk and a pianist called Richard Clayderman, who used to play just these lovely, like easy listening piano pieces. And those were my influences. Michael Jackson was a staple in our house. Wow. So I'm obsessed with Michael Jackson. So I love him. Whitney Houston. There was such good music. And Madonna. I mean, it ran the gamut.
Okay.
So my musical influence, I wouldn't say was necessarily classical or opera, but it was part of what we listened to. So I have an appreciation for all kinds of genres. If it's good music, I'm there. But classical, that bug bit me in college, really.
Oh, wow.
Really and truly, yeah.
Wow. Because throughout my school, you'll probably be the only person or one of two or three people in the school who really, really are into classical music. And you'd find that people find it hard to appreciate what is so good about it. So to hear that you were exposed to other genres of music, and then came to study classical music is quite intriguing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
But you went to school in the US?
Yeah.
You went to school in Ghana.
Yeah.
What do you think we need to learn here in Ghana about music education?
Forgive me, music educators. But I don't think we have proper music education here. I think, and it's a shame because there's so much talent. So much talent. I was so green when I got to Spelman as far as my concept of what music study was and all of that. And I mean, there were people there with me, students who were coming from performing arts high schools. These people, they had done full productions of operettas and musical theater, and they came knowing their stuff, very competitive, very confident. And I just thought, where am I? I wasn't well prepared at all. But also because here, and even now, it's not really seen as an option as a profession. So it's not something that our system really invests in as far as music education. It is still seen as a hobby.
Yeah.
So even with the wonderful work that Gramophone is doing, a lot of parents see it as, okay, let me find something for my children to do after school. It's not something, it's just something, my child plays piano. Oh, come and play something. But as to whether or not it's a skill that they want to develop, that's something that can be viable, it's still not seen that way. Even though we can see that the world is building quite a significant orange economy. The creative arts is, it's growing by leaps and bounds, right? It's a lucrative industry. But unfortunately, there's this notion, which hopefully we can erode, that people who go into that field can't do anything else. So it's a kind of like a last resort.
Yeah.
But I think mindsets are changing somewhat, but we still have a long way to go. So yeah, music education, it's broad, it's intense. It requires a lot of commitment, a lot of resources. And that's another reason why I think it's a deterrent for people, because it's expensive.
It is.
It's an expensive profession. As a singer, there's a lot you have to do. I still take lessons myself. I have virtual lessons with my teacher. And just in preparing for your performances, and it's an investment, so we've got a long way to go. I know we have, schools of music, University of Ghana, we have Winneba, and I've got brilliant colleagues who are in those institutions who are doing well, nurturing these students. But there's so much more that they need. And I don't know, it's dear to my heart, because I truly believe that there should be education in music and proper training, and that there are people who are naturally talented and they do a lot on their own. But in order for us to really build an industry that has seasoned professionals, that kind of training is really non-negotiable. But it also requires investment, not just from the state, but from private sector and from individuals. Abroad, you see a lot of people who are benefactors of the arts and artists. I mean, these are private individuals who are wealthy, they have the resources, and they support individuals, music companies, non-profits, education programs, and they do it wholeheartedly. They give millions of dollars to this every year. And that is how they're able to sustain it. But we haven't bought into it yet as a society. So we have a few people who do their parts. Auntie Joyce, I mean, she's done
amazing.
We can't quantify her contribution to the art music scene in particular. I mean, she's done so much. So we need about 100 of her.
Absolutely.
People who have the means or even have the influence to support classical music, the arts in general, and we can get somewhere. It really is a tool for us.
I was talking to an American conductor, and I was curious as to how they run their institution. Right, this is a choral organization in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I asked him how they fund their events, and he said, "What do I mean?" And I said, "No, like, how do they fund their events?" And he was like, "Okay, so they have a $50 million fund,
an endowment, yes,
and they have like a board that runs the fund, and they're entitled to spend about 5% of the fund every year. Yeah. And the fund is invested.
Yes.
And so it's always generating a return, but they cannot spend money. So that's what pays their musicians, their staff, their tours. And I was thinking when
we get there, right?
There,
well, that's a society that has bought into the relevance of that. And you see, what we don't realize as well is that the arts is a way of preserving our history, our culture. That is what they have done in other jurisdictions. That is why you can listen to music by Handel and Mozart still today, and it tells of the times in which that music was written. You can go to Italy, you can go to France, you can go anywhere in Europe, look at the architecture, look at the sculptures, look at the art exhibitions, and it tells a whole story about their culture from eons ago. We are delighted to tear down old buildings. We don't see the value in preserving antique things. We still haven't grasped that concept of art being the storyteller of our lives. Until we get there, we're going to keep having this problem of people not really understanding our history properly, of not being patriotic enough. It's the art. The art is what sustains our civilization, our culture. I hope one day we'll get there. You see the beautiful museum that Egypt has just completed?
Yes, I saw that.
I mean, and this is like $1 billion investment over decades, I think. But look at the impact. They're going to make that back. If people are worried about getting the money back, you're not going to get the money back today. In fact, don't even think about getting your money back. It's not about that.
But it's about the future, right?
It's about the future and you preserving that history for future generations. That's what we're trying to do,
And this person was telling me that there are people who have willed their,
Yes.
their estates.
They will leave their
to the
whole estate to the
organization.
arts, yeah. Because they understand the significance of it in the context of their culture.
Yeah.
So if somebody is watching or listening and you have the means or the wherewithal to do that, consider the arts.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it also means that we, as classical musicians, as art musicians, also have to be organized, also have to have good structure, because people will put their resources where they see potential and where there's structure. So it's up to us to also get our act together, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we're trying in our own small way.
We're trying. That's
we're getting there small, as they say.
Small.
Yeah.
Opera.
Yes.
You are, among other things, among a lot of things, an opera singer.
I am.
What is the biggest misconception about opera?
That it's only for elites. I think that's the biggest misconception. Opera is art. It's music. It's dialogue, lyrics. It's a story. And anyone can relate to music. I think once people hear that something is classical or operatic, there's this notion that it's for rich people or only for people who understand what opera. No, it isn't. If you are someone who can appreciate a story, if you're someone who can appreciate music, you watch an opera and you'll understand that truly it's for everybody. There's something I do. I haven't done one in a while, but I call it story time on my social media.
I was going to come to that.
Okay. So one of the reasons I was doing that was to dispel that notion that people have that
it, right?
Exactly, that they don't understand opera or what's this. It's a story. And sometimes once you hear the storyline behind it, okay, so this is something we can all relate to. The themes are simple. It's either about love, betrayal, power. These are themes of life in any culture. Anybody can relate to family dynamics, So opera, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. And one thing I would love to see is for us to have more Ghanaian opera. Whether we want to call it opera or not, but stories told through music, which is exactly what opera is.
That's going to be my next question, whether you think there's a place for the African story in operatic music.
Of course. We've got too many stories to tell, actually. And I think one of the best ways to tell it is through that art form, because it doubles as entertainment, right?
Exactly.
We love to be entertained. So why not sit and consume something that not only teaches you something, not only enlightens you, but also entertains you. And all of those elements are in opera. The visual spectacle, the music itself, the story. Sometimes they're didactic. They can be morality plays. And there's too much we have to share with the world, honestly. We've got so many stories we can tell through opera. Yeah.
I mean, I had never been interested in opera. I've been a choral, baroque.
I'm so glad you said that, because there are people who conflate opera, choral music. So they're all under the classical music umbrella.
Exactly.
But they'll say, oh, Kokui, you do choral.
Yeah.
Oh, Kokui. So Theophil is a choral musician.
Yep.
I'm an opera singer.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a choral musician. I have sung in choir in school, but it's not something I do now. So there's a distinction, again, which is why education is important, right?
We need to teach.
We need to teach. Yeah.
I had Sam Kofi, olive organs, the last time, and I asked him to tell our audience the differences between an organ, a piano, a keyboard.
Yeah.
Because everybody mixes it all up together, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like opera and choral music. People think it's the same thing.
I think it's the same thing. They're all keyboard instruments, but an organ is very different from a piano,
absolutely.
and
But I was going to ask, if there was an opera that could be done in a Ghanaian language, what work do you think that could be?
Okay, do you mean what language should it be in, or what story could we tell through opera?
No, what language could a standing opera, a known opera be sung in?
Oh, goodness. Any language.
Okay.
Any language at all. If I go and watch Così fan tutte, right, at an opera house, so recently in Paris, saw Così fan tutte, which is an Italian opera.
Okay.
But it's being performed in Paris, France. They speak French, obviously. So maybe one might say, because they're in Europe, maybe proximity-wise or they may be a bit familiar with the Italian language, but that's a broad assumption to make. Probably not. So let's assume that a mainly French audience will not understand Italian, but they can appreciate così fan tutte. Okay. And there's always subtitles.
Okay.
So when you go to the opera, they will project the subtitles as the action is going on stage, so you can follow along. The other thing is when you're going to watch an opera, you do your research before you go. So you read about it, you understand who the characters are, so that as you're watching it, you already have context. Okay. And that makes it even more easy to follow. Okay. So you know what you're watching before you've gone. So whether we do an opera in Ga, whether we do it in Dagbani, whatever it is, we can convey our message, you can translate, you can have subtitles, and you can give people a place to go to read about it and understand it before they go and watch, so that they can have, a holistic experience. But language is never the barrier. Never. No, there's always ways to get around that. So any of our Ghanaian languages qualifies.
Great.
Yes.
Broadcaster Kokui, how did you get into broadcasting?
I got into broadcasting through music.
Okay.
Yes, ironically. I did a performance, classical performance, and the MD and owner of City FM were both at that concert. They asked me to come in for a meeting, and I met Bernard Avila, Summons, and they said, come and host a classical music show on Sundays, Sunday mornings. And that's how I got into radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the audience like for the classical music show?
Sunday morning audience, you might assume, again, people think with classical music, it's only like rich older people who will listen. But no, I even get people till today who remember that show. I called it Classic City. Wow. And they used to listen religiously. They would tune in. The social media generation too, those who appreciate the music. And I would explain the pieces before I play them. So if it was an instrumental piece, I would talk about the composer, when it was written and all of that. If it was something from an opera or maybe an art song, then I would give the storyline and an explanation of the libretto. So it was something I actually loved doing. Yeah.
Because I've always wondered, there's a radio classical music show on the national broadcaster, and it airs late at night, and I'm
Thursdays.
wondering whether it's because they're relegating the music to the background or something like that.
I've also wondered, and I mean, he's had that slot for some time.
Yeah,
I mean,
for years,
we all know who you're talking for years, and he has his audience, and so maybe someone initially thought, oh, this isn't really mainstream, let's just stick it there. But it has been in that slot for years now. So there definitely is an audience for it.
We stay up to listen. Huh?
Yeah, he's done well to maintain that.
But has your music helped your broadcasting? Because you've moved from hosting a classical music show to being a main panelist on the morning political
crazy, right?
show.
Yeah.
Do you think that the music skills come into play anywhere there?
You and I both know that music, being a musician, requires quite a few skills. You've got to be attentive to detail.
Yeah.
You've got to be a bit versatile. You've got to read music. Well, some of us can read music to some degree. Some can't, but it doesn't mean they're not good musicians. I would put that out there. Some people have a brilliant ear and they have natural musical talent, and that's a musical gift as well. Languages, sometimes you've got to learn, you've got to research, you've got to understand pronunciation. And you've got to absorb a lot of material sometimes within a short period of time, learning your music, interpreting it. You've got to be ready for anything, especially with live performance. And as art musicians, we deal a lot with live performance as opposed to some of our contemporary counterparts. Yes, they perform live, but most of our work is done through live performance. So we adapt quite well. And when you have to host a live TV or radio show, anything can happen. So being a stage performer who's used to that and having to improvise sometimes, having to deal with other elements not working as they should in tandem and having to compensate for that, all of that comes into play. You just got to be that multitasker who is ready, poised for anything. So I think it does apply in the broadcasting space as well.
Yeah. That's great. you're not only, you don't only multitask, but you're multi-talented. And I think in a context where this sort of music is not very mainstream, I think you're a really good example to our women. I think you're a really good example to our women. Because you are sort of doing so many things at the same time.
Charlie, across day by plan. Yeah. If you like, don't, as they say, don't do and see.
Yeah. And I know you're raising four children. I see you bring them babies every week.
Yeah.
For piano lessons.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a woman who is multi-talented and doesn't want to be put in a box?
In a box. I think that's actually it, really. So I wouldn't limit myself. If you've got something that you're good at and you love to do, go for it. Try it out. Take a risk. In this day and age, especially, where women have so many more options, there's really nothing that should limit you from pursuing your goals, from dabbling in the things that you enjoy. You may come to find that there are things that you love, but you might not necessarily be good at. And then you may come to discover that you prioritize certain things more than others, or something is more important to you than others. And that's fine. But I wouldn't place a limit on yourself unless you've explored to the fullest the things that you love to do, you're passionate about, your talents, your gifts. We're put on this earth to use those gifts. So use them while you're still here. I posted something on my social media this morning about how, the scripture in, I think it's Matthew, that says that we shouldn't worry about tomorrow. And today has its own problems. So think about that. So to some degree, live in the moment, do what you can in the immediate future. And then we work on the next and the next. I think there's a lot of pressure in this social media age to jump from 0 to 100 overnight. And it's a shame because it doesn't give people the room to really take their time to persevere, to pursue those goals. We put a lot of pressure on people to be something extraordinary within an unrealistic period of time. And it's causing a lot of stress among, I think, our youth. It's making people compare themselves to what they see on social media, which isn't always realistic. So take your time, live your life. And as you are growing and living, don't forget to treat yourself as well. I think that's very important. I mean, you came into this world alone. No one can take care of yourself better than you can.
Yeah.
So take time to look after the self. Yes, your career. Yes, your family. And don't beat yourself up if you're not excelling at everything all the time. You're one person. Having a family is not easy. Having a career is not easy. Having all those things put together and trying to take care of yourself, you're not magicians. So do what you can when you can. Something will by all means take priority over something else at any given point in time. But just try to keep the juggling act going as best as you can. And if you feel you can't handle it, drop whatever is giving you the most stress and focus on the others. But yeah, I think we need to be kinder to ourselves. And set realistic expectations and don't get bogged down by the unrealistic expectations of the world. And stay true to yourself. Yeah.
Well, that's good advice. You seem to have built a good career in music. So
really?
Yeah.
My social media has bamboozled you. Yes.
Okay. But I don't think I've been bamboozled. But what advice would you give to people trying to build careers in music, in classical music, choral music?
It isn't easy. Yeah. But if that is the gift or one of the gifts God has given you, you have a duty to use it. I would always say never give up on that gift or that talent. As I told you earlier, I still work on my voice. I still have a teacher. I still check in, because that's the kind of business we're in, where you're constantly learning, you constantly have to improve. And because our part of the world, yes, it's not really mainstream, it's quite niche, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still pursue excellence, because you never know where you might find yourself. There are times, and I say this and people don't believe it, if I'm ever asked or invited to sing the national anthem, for instance, for an occasion, I'm always nervous. Every time. every single time. So you get people saying, oh, you know, when do you stop getting nervous, or at what point does this become easier? No, well, the answer for me is never. It's always a challenge. You always see it as, okay, it's another opportunity, because what we do is so organic. It's live. Every performance is different. Our instrument literally lives in our bodies as singers. So you can't predict necessarily what your voice is going to sound like every single time. But because of your training, your preparation, you have a baseline.
Yeah.
You know what you can fall back on. You have your technique that you can fall on in certain circumstances. And that should at least carry you through. But the beauty of it is that it's a living instrument. So every performance can be different. So it may be the national anthem today, tomorrow, next month, but all three will sound different because this instrument is not static. So I love that dynamic aspect of what we do, but it's not easy. I would also say invest in your talent. I think a lot of us, especially our young musicians, feel that, okay, once I've learned how to play the notes on an instrument, or okay, I can sing a few songs, I learn a few songs, that's it. No. You should have a teacher, a coach. A teacher is different from a coach. You should have your teacher, you should have your coach if you can, and you should constantly be listening to people who are better than you. I like to listen to what I call old school classical musicians, because their training was so different. And it was amazing. Watch videos, look at their posture, look at their fingering, look at their expression, listen to the way they play certain phrases or they sing certain phrases. All of that is part of your education, you know, which you might not get in your classroom, but you've got to really open yourself up to what is out there in your field and what you can learn from it. The learning is constant. That's one thing I really like to drum home to people. A lot of our choral singers, Theophil, your people and our friends,
they don't want to learn.
They don't want to learn, and they don't want to study, and they feel, I'm in a choir, I'm in gramophone, I've made it. Yeah. No, you're in gramophone, you should continue to improve.
Absolutely.
Let the standard improve. You should be consistently pursuing excellence. If you look at a choir like Moment Tabernacle, I mean, there's like hundreds of singers in that choir.
But
they still work.
Yeah, they still work, yeah.
They still work, which is why their sound is consistently what it is, you know. So we can't get complacent. That's one thing. Please, classical musicians watching and listening, do not be content with the fact that everybody says you're the best tenor in your choir. You're the best tenor in their opinion in a very small circle.
Small constituency.
A very, very small constituency. Always tell yourself you want to meet a global standard of excellence. And to do that, you've got to look outside that circle. And you've got to look at people who are doing it on a global level consistently. And those who have come before us who really set the standard, what they call the golden age of opera and classical music. So I'm always listening to old school singers. If you sit in my car.
Wow.
Yeah. My children say, Mommy, what's this again? I'm like, listen. Yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah, that's great. I mean,
I
think you've answered several questions I had.
Good.
That's several questions I had.
Yeah.
I think we're rounding up, right? And I want you to tell us one blooper moment.
Blooper?
Every performer, singer, classical musician has a blooper moment.
Yeah. Gosh, now I'll have to recall one, because if I've had one, it hasn't been recent.
Okay.
Because so there are moments when you perform where you know, no, that didn't sound good, but you keep going. So it's not necessarily a blooper, but in your head, you're playing this mental game because you've got to keep singing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, gosh, that sounded horrible. So you're fighting your mind.
Yeah.
But for bloopers, it's kind of like you totally mess up. But you see, the benefits of a lot of performance is that sometimes you may have a blooper, but you cover it up so well, people might not know. But I always fight with, I'll give a shout out to Michael Dodu, who I work with most of the time when I'm performing. If it's me and a keyboardist, it's usually Michael or sometimes Edwin Ferguson. And Michael will always, if I ever mess up something, and it's usually lyrics, it's usually words to a song, especially if there's several verses or something, I'll just be there. And if it's in another language, I might be able to get away with it because most people might not understand. So maybe if it's Italian or French or German or something, I might get away with it. But if it's English, or like a language that he understands, he will give me the evil eye because he's like, what are you doing? And he will blast me out of performance. Yes, that gentleman blasts me sometimes. So I mean, and you need people like that to keep you on your toes and to say, Charlie, what was that? Like, what were you singing? Or maybe rhythmically. And I always fight with him. I was like, I'm a soloist in a choir. Yes, everybody should sing what is written. I'm a soloist. I have the liberty to express myself and embellish. And we always argue. And he's like, no, sing the notes as written on page. I'm like, nope, I'm a soloist. I will take my liberties to some degree. But yes, he's right. You should know the music as written. Then as you mature in your performance, you can see where to take some liberties. But bloopers, coming back to your question, let me think. Have I had any bloopers lately? I can't think of any bloopers per se, but I will tell you that there have been some performances where my lyrics were not on point and I just tried to skate over it.
Yeah.
Ooh, but there was one. Oh my gosh. That one was quite major. And it was major because I was doing the French anthem. So I was normally for some of those programs, they'll ask me to do both Ghana and the other country.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So maybe Ghana and EU or Ghana and France. So this particular program, I did Ghana and France and the French anthem. Yeah. I said, allons enfants de ma patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. So there's a part, I think, contre nous de la tyrannie, les tendances sanglantes élevées, les tendances sanglantes. And I look, my mind just went blank. I don't know what I was singing, but it was bad because like 90% of the audience was French. So as I was singing, messing up, I was like, I'm sure they're all like, what is this lady singing? Ça, ce n'est pas notre hymne national. Qu'est-ce qu'elle chante? Like, I'm sure they were like, but they were so polite about it. But nobody said anything afterward. Yeah. The ambassador was there. He was happy. I mean, everybody seemed happy. So I thought, okay, I got away with it. Maybe they weren't paying attention. But it plays on your mind when you're in a live performance and you know you've sung the wrong words or you've messed up the rhythm. I've seen performances where people have stopped cold because they sang something wrong. And like, no, keep going.
Keep going.
Because you'll be surprised the audience doesn't know. But once you stop, they will know. If you make it obvious, they will know. Yeah. So just keep going. That's another tip. Yeah. Whatever it is, if you're performing live and you mess up, just keep going. You can do overdubs later for your recording if you want to. But yeah, just keep going.
It's good to know you're human.
We're human. We are human, So it happens. Yeah. Yes, I'm human. But please don't pay too much attention to what I'm singing to see if I mess up my words. Oh my gosh. I've done it before. Yeah. I think in France too. There was a time I went with Harmonious Chorale, because I was doing some vocal training for them. And we sang at the Ghana Embassy in France. And our dear friend, James Varikamal, I was sitting in the corner minding my business. All I hear is my name.
Put you on the spot. No.
He said I should come and sing The Holy City with Joseph and I think Sam, John Berma. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was singing baritone and then we each took a verse. And literally, my mind was just blank. I didn't know how am I even starting? So Joseph was actually like whispering lyrics to me as we were standing there. And I was the one starting. So I think instead of saying, last night I lay sleeping, I had a dream so fair. I stood in I think I said I stood in New Jerusalem. I like mixed up the words. It was but you keep singing. You just keep going. That's what you do. So yeah. It happens. It happens to the best of singers, trust me.
It does.
Yeah.
You have the voice box.
Yes, voice box.
You have the band Kokui.
Too many things.
I don't know that Afropopera is an event or
a
genre you're creating. Or...
It's a genre. It's when we mix classical and our African stuff. And
quickly tell us about these initiatives.
So Voice Box is voice training. Okay. So that's the teacher in me for people who want voice training or lessons, or Voice Box is what I called it. Okay. So, and as part of that, Music Box is our attempt to do some CSR in schools. Oh. So for instance, we went to Tamale a couple of times to do some music workshops with children
I think I saw that.
in schools. That was amazing. And our friend Ibrahim Muhammad, the artist who does amazing work, he facilitated all of that for us. So voice box is voice training.
Okay.
So people can, so I do teach, but as you know, Theophil, because of my time, it's difficult to sometimes have enough time to teach people, but I do. So if people are interested in lessons, I'm actually going to announce it again, how they can touch base for lessons.
Please, you should.
They will mainly be virtual. I'll put that out there because technology is helping us.
Yes, of course.
Yes, so stay tuned.
Great. I have some quick fire questions.
Quick fire away.
Radio, television.
Radio.
Opera or choral?
Opera all day, every day.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Live audience or radio or recording?
Live any day.
Heels or sneakers?
In my previous life, heels. These days, after 4 children, sneakers are more helpful, but heels are more beautiful. Yes.
This is a tough one. Mozart or Varikama?
James. James, if he writes a song for me. So I hope he watches this, and I'm waiting for my composition. If he writes a song for me, I will pick him over Mozart. But for now, he and Mozart are neck and neck. So James Varikama, I'm waiting for my song so that I can pick you over Mozart.
Uncle Kofi. So that's
you call him Uncle Kofi.
We're waiting for a composition.
Yes, we're waiting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hosting or performing?
Hosting or performing? Performing.
Great. That's the last one.
Yeah, I think I get to communicate more when I perform. Yeah.
Kokui Selormey. Thank you very much for coming. It's been delightful.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Great. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. Please like and subscribe to our channel and share with your friends. This will make it possible for us to keep making the videos and make it accessible to more people. Once again, thank you for watching the Virtuoso podcast.